Teal, Kane. I am a senior at the University of North Florida, majoring in child psychology and minoring in early childhood education.
My name is Sunny. I'm a junior at the University of North Florida. My major is in psychology and my minor is in criminal justice.
And we are going to talk to you today about visual supports to help parents of children with autism.
Okay, so what we're going to talk about is like some challenging behaviors, like just in case your child is having a hard time completing a task. We're going to show you some helpful tools that might go along with making that a little bit easier to deal with. And then we're going to go over some first-then boards, and we're going to tell you how to create them, what they are, what their purpose is, and all that, and then what the benefits are, and then some materials and resources, and then some tips that are there to help you guys. And then we're also going to go over visual schedules. The first thing, visual schedules are kind of like our main thing that we're going to go over. Again, we're going to show you how to make one, create, what they do, what their purpose is, how to make it, benefits, resources, and materials, and some tips, again.
Okay, so here are some challenging behaviors that we will address today. Maybe some will sound familiar to you. So does your child struggle to accomplish certain tasks using the proper steps? Do they have a difficult time staying on task? Maybe do they wait to listen or obey until they get what they want? Or do they lack motivation to complete a task or series of tasks? So the first tool that we're going to talk about are choice boards. These are a visual tool with 2 or more possible choices for an individual, and these choices may be expressed in pictures, photographs, symbols, or written text. With the choice board, the individual has time to see all the possibilities, they have time to think about the decisions, and they have time to check the options as often as needed before making their decision. And choice boards give your child some control over certain situations. Both adults and children like to have control over the decisions that they make in their lives, and it is more satisfying to be able to decide which snack do I want to have, which video do I want to watch, or whether one does math first or second. So some helpful tips and resources. You should determine what and how many choices will be placed on the choice board. When you're first starting out introducing the choice board to your child, you may only want to start off with maybe 3 options for them to choose from so they're not so overwhelmed. And then maybe you can gradually work up to 6 options, 9 options, once they have success with the lower amount. And you do want to ensure that your child understands what the visuals are clearly representing. It's recommended that you put text with the pictures so that they can practice reading skills as well. And they can associate, okay, this is what the picture is. You can print photos, pictures, symbols, or written text that represent each choice. And the choices can be displayed in order on a board, or they can maybe be randomly displayed out if the child is always choosing from the first row or always choosing that first option. You want them to understand the concept, so you may want to start off with spreading the options out on a table that they can kind of look through and then gradually start putting them on a board. I have included a great resource. It's free that you can go on and actually download these boxes, and you can also download clip art. So if you aren't good with photographs or free drawing or anything like that, you can print those out, as well as a video tutorial on how to make them. So one of our primary focuses are on first-then boards. These boards are primarily used to help with getting your child to do an undesirable task, something that maybe they don't like. Maybe they don't like to do math homework, but they do like science. So this is basically helping them learn in order and also giving them something that's going to be more reinforcing after they complete a task that they may not like. So for example, the first is doing your homework and then you get to play your video games. Or first you have to wash your hands and then you eat at the table. So when you're making a first-then board, there are certain goals that first-then boards can be used for. One is to just help with smoothly transitioning from one task to another. So this may not be reinforcing, but it just may be helping with demands. So it's kind of breaking up an overall schedule. So maybe first you'll do your math homework and then you'll do your science homework. And it also can be for completing non-preferred tasks, which is what we'll talk about more today. So for example, like doing your homework and then you get to play your video game because that is reinforcing for your child. And there can be two-step activities, so first, then, which is great for when you're first introducing this concept to your child, and then you can gradually add more tasks to it. So you can do first, next, then, or you can do all of these activities on one side for the first schedule, and then you can add the then in there. So some great materials and resources at home. You can find a lot of these things around your house, whether that be scissors, glue sticks, tape, paper, anything that you can create these first then boards. We were researching where you can purchase some of these, and even on Amazon it was $50 for a laminated cardboard piece of paper and maybe 16 options to choose from. So by making them yourselves, they make them more personable for the child, instead of overgeneralizing what they may be working towards, as well as you can use different things, maybe photographs of things that your child likes so that they can associate that with what they're working towards. You can find maybe labels on cereal boxes or restaurant menus, cutting pictures out of magazines, so they're super easy to make. And for longer lasting materials, you can even try a dry erase board and buy some markers, and you can, if you're good at free drawing, or if your kid is more verbal, then you can just write out what they're working towards so that they can associate that. I also have included some more video tutorials on how to make them, and also printable clip art. This is an awesome tool. It offers over 30,000 different clip art options that you can print out for activities, food, different things of that nature. So what are the benefits? Well, for your child, it offers more opportunities for socially appropriate power and control. It does enhance motivation and also responsibility for their actions. It increases their independence, and the visuals assist children in knowing exactly what is expected of them at the time. And for you as a parent, it does share control with the child, so it will save you with time and worrying about always making these decisions for your child. Visuals can act as a cue to teach appropriate behavior or new skills for children who are having challenging behaviors. And it also avoids using the reinforcer after a problematic behavior has occurred, just to prevent reinforcing the misuse of positive reinforcement. And some helpful tips. Remember that children communicate and understand at different levels, so you want to find something that's going to adhere to what your child is struggling with. And you want to use written text along with photographs, pictures, and line drawings to promote reading. Presenting visuals from left to right if your child can scan horizontally. Horizontal orientation will also help the child with their reading skills. Choice boards also need to be placed in a location that is accessible to your child, which is at eye level and within reach for quick and easy use. The then is the only consequence for not completing the undesirable task. You're not allowed to give other punishments and you have already committed to the lack of the then. So, for instance, if they are, working on their homework and so that they can play their video game, if they don't do their homework, you can't also give them another punishment for not doing their homework. You've already accepted that the only punishment is that they don't get to play their video game. So you have to keep in mind that this is giving your child the choice to either complete the task or not. So it may not be recommendable if you are wanting them to do their homework, you are wanting them to eat their vegetables. You may want to go with a different intervention at that point. And you should also keep in mind that offering different then activities need to be something that is considered desirable to your child. They're not going to work for it if they don't want it. And an example that we have come up with is primarily for food. So if your child is having a hard time maybe eating their vegetables, you may want them to first eat a banana or something like that, and then they can have cookies. So this is kind of implementing exactly what we have discussed so far.
Okay, so I covered task analysis and visual schedules. So task analysis is kind of cool. If your child isn't really being able to finish a task at all, he's getting distracted or like just doesn't really want to do it. This is kind of cool because this is the example that we use in one of our packets here, and it's using the toilet. And a task analysis gives you step-by-step instructions on exactly how to complete the task. So the objective for the actual task analysis is to help the child to understand like the specific steps on finishing the task at hand. So for this, the helpful tips and resources, just kind of like find the specific stuff that your child is kind of having a hard time with. You know, if it's brushing your teeth, you know, you can use certain pieces. I know everybody brushes their teeth in a different routine, but you know, you find the pictures of it, and then it gives you, you provide the step-by-step instructions on how to finish this task, and it's going to eventually help because your child will be able to eventually finish the task by each step. So you can use other stuff, you don't have to buy like the fancy stuff on Amazon or anything like that. You can make it all at home. You can use books, magazines, pictures, stuff like that, just cut it out. Like Teal was saying, you could use tape, scissors, glue sticks, all that. And then there's also some helpful resources on here that I posted on here that in case you wanted to look at that, on like how to do it, like understanding them more. So I'm going to go into more visual schedules because it's kind of like my main focus on this side. So a visual schedule is often used for like the course of a day. So like it's going to go through and say, like at 7 a.m. we're going to do, like breakfast, and then like it's going to go all the way to like nighttime. So as it says up here, often uses images, symbols, and photos to better communicate a task or activity. So that way they kind of know like what they're expecting for the day. And it's kind of not like a guessing game, like, oh, should I go eat breakfast first, or, so it just kind of gives them an idea. And again, the objective for this is visual schedule is to help the child pair their activities with symbols and pictures so they kind of understand, like, oh, this means lunchtime, or this means breakfast, or, the ball in the swing means recess, like it's time to go to recess. So in making one, again, you don't have to buy the special fancy ones off Amazon or anything. You can just make one at home. You can use tape, books, scissors, glue sticks, all that stuff. Okay. You want to break your child's day up into individual steps that are represented by the pictures and words. Each activity, represent each activity so the individual knows what is expected for the day, again, so that way it's not like a guessing game. Determine the best format for your child, and there's a couple different formats that you could do. So you could go into the picture and like icon schedules, and the pictures and icons are used to represent the activities, as said before. And then the objective schedule is for more concrete understanding of activities. And then the word schedules are, you use like words more than you would a picture to represent the activity. And then you have to determine like how the schedule is going to be used, and unfinished activities as well as how they will transition from each task. Okay, so the materials and resources. Again, you can use pictures and magazines. You don't have to buy the fancy ones. Create routines for mornings, afternoons, and evenings, and even after school stuff. And then these are some different websites that might help you. There are some up here that there's like printable card sections that are included, so you can just go on there and print stuff off for free if you wanted to do that. And then there's also an app, which I thought was kind of cool. So if you wanted to download an app, you can do that because there's an app for everything. And then just, let the child be, let your child help you make them. So that way they kind of feel like they're involved with it, So it's like, oh, I made this too, Mom. Okay, so the benefits are like, it improves the child's like independence. That's like a really big thing, and it like increases their self-esteem because it's like, oh, I got, I finished my whole list. So it makes them feel more independent to know that they did that. And then it helps to reinforce and teach abstract concepts such as time and actions. And then it improves the behavior that is related to the changes in routine or when completing a less preferred task. So if they don't want to do something, it kind of like helps with that. It helps break down the multiple step task into smaller, more manageable parts. So it's not like, oh my gosh, I have this huge task and I can't really get it done. Now it's like, oh, okay, I can break it up into different sections, and it's not as intimidating of a task. And then it lessens the anxiety level by providing the structure for a child to organize and predict daily and weekly events. So again, it's like, not a guessing game what we're going to do every day. It's kind of like right here, and like, don't worry, we got this. It's right there. And then for the parents, it kind of helps to reinforce with verbal instructions, so that way, like, when you're telling your child, hey, we need you to do this, like, this is what it is. This is a visual. We can kind of like pair it. And then the child better understands what the parent wants them to do as well. So you should really have it easily accessible to your child, at all times, so that way they can see it, they can go up and like visualize with it and everything. And then you should personalize the schedule to your child as much as possible. So again, like, have your child like included in making it, so that way they're like a part of it, and let them color on it or draw, or if they wanted to draw the picture that you wanted, for the morning time, like, let them do that. And then once something's been placed on the schedule, you really shouldn't, and shown to the child, you shouldn't change it, so that way the child trusts that the board is going to stay true. It's not just going to change all the time. And then when you make the schedules, make it fun and easy to use, so that way the child stays interested, because if you make it too difficult, nobody's going to want to stay interested in it. So have the child help with you when you create the schedule as well. And then this was our example of it. So like, we just took a folder board and we laminated it and then wrote the visual schedule on it. And then each piece is Velcroed to the actual board. And then in the back is a piece where, like, once the task is finished, you can put the task in there. And then it's also Velcroed to the back, so once it's over, you can like remove it and start over if you so choose to.